Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're really getting into it with two huge airlines, Delta and Southwest.
Yeah, we're looking at how they understand their customers, what makes them tick.
Exactly. We've got some great research here identifying customer preferences and behavior for these airlines by Nisha Deor. We're going to unpack their market research, the tech they use.
And how things like, your feedback actually changes what they do.
Right. And this is interesting whether you fly a lot or you're just curious about how big companies use data.
Definitely. It's a peek behind the curtain, really. We'll see how they learn and adapt using Delta and Southwest as kind of case studies. We'll try to keep it clear, no heavy jargon.
Sounds good. So let's dive in. The research makes it clear both airlines really focus on knowing their customers. Where do they start gathering all this info?
Well, a really big piece for both is their loyalty programs. Delta's SkyMiles.
Uh-huh. Got the card.
Right. Well, it's more than just points. It's this constant feed of data about frequent flyers, what routes you fly, how often, what you spend.
So they know I always fly to Chicago.
Pretty much. And that lets Delta tailor offers specifically to you. See, these programs aren't just perks. They're like strategic data funnels.
Okay, that makes sense. They see your patterns, offer relevant stuff like upgrades on routes you fly often.
Exactly. And Southwest does something similar with rapid rewards.
Right.
They track behavior too. And they use that data actively to optimize routes, make service better, personalize offers. It's all connected.
So both programs are pretty crucial then for keeping customers and making decisions.
Absolutely fundamental. They provide real, actionable insights that, drive strategy.
Okay, so the loyalty programs are like the intake valves for information, but processing it all, that must take some serious tech, right?
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really interesting. They're both using a lot of AI, big data analytics, CRM tools, customer relationship management. Delta, for example, uses AI-driven analytics. They try to actually predict customer preferences to personalize your whole travel experience.
Predict. So not just reacting to what I booked before.
Kind of. It's about anticipating. Based on your patterns, maybe things you've clicked on, they try to figure out what you might like next. Think of it like a recommendation engine, but for flights and travel.
Huh. Okay. And Southwest, are they doing the same thing?
They use machine learning, which is related to AI. They focus more on crunching huge amounts of historical data.
Right.
To spot broader trends in behavior and predict future patterns across their customer base.
So Delta's maybe more individual prediction, Southwest more on the big trends.
That's a fair way to put it. The main thing is these technologies let them process just massive amounts of data, find patterns humans might miss, and make smarter, data-driven decisions.
And you mentioned CRM tools, too.
Yeah, CRM helps manage all that customer interaction data in one place. And don't forget their mobile apps.
Ah, right. I use mine all the time. Booking, check-in.
Exactly. But they're also getting real-time feedback through those apps. If there's an issue, you might report it right there.
Yeah, I've done that.
That lets them react much faster, adapt to what's happening, right now.
Okay, so gathering data through loyalty programs and apps, analyzing it with AI and machine learning, how does this translate into changes I actually see or feel as a passenger?
Well, customer feedback is a huge driver there, especially for operational stuff. Delta, for instance, really focuses on passenger comfort and the whole in-flight experience.
Like the seats in movies?
Exactly. Those post-flight surveys they send out, they actually use that feedback. It's influenced things like seating layouts, the entertainment systems, stuff like that.
Good to know they don't just ignore those surveys. What about Southwest? They're a bit different, more no frills?
Right, but they're still very customer-centric. They listen hard, too, but maybe through different channels as well. Social media, calls to their centers, that feedback helps them tweak their policies. Think about baggage handling, their boarding process, which is unique,
Oh, yeah, the ABC groups.
Right. And flight schedules. It's all about refining their model to make the experience smoother, even within that no-frills approach.
Interesting. So different styles, but both are using feedback to improve things based on their own brand identity.
Precisely.
Now, keeping customers coming back. Loyalty. How do they tackle that, besides the points programs?
Well, their strategies differ a bit there, too.
Yeah.
Delta really invests in premium services for its loyal base.
Like the lounges, upgrades?
Yeah, first-class upgrades, lounge access, priority boarding, things that make the travel experience smoother or more comfortable for frequent, often higher-spending flyers. And their marketing is targeted based on that data we talked about.
So if I fly business often, I get business-related perks offered?
That's the idea. They reward you in ways they think you'll value.
Okay. And Southwest, what's their angle on loyalty beyond points?
Southwest leans into transparency and overall satisfaction. Big things for them are the no checked bag fees.
That's huge for families.
It really is. And they tend to have more flexible ticketing options compared to some others. It's about reducing hassle and making the value proposition clear.
So Delta uses perks, Southwest uses simplicity and avoids fees.
Kind of, yeah. But underlying both is the goal of using their reward programs and overall experience to incentivize you to fly with them again. Build that loyalty.
Makes sense. Now, the research also mentioned different customer segments. They obviously don't treat every passenger exactly the same.
Definitely not. Segmentation is key. Delta aims really broad. They target business travelers who want luxury or efficiency.
Lie-flat seats and Wi-Fi.
Right, but they also target budget-conscious leisure travelers. Their different fare classes, from basic economy up to Delta One, reflect that. They try to have an option for, well, almost everyone.
A wider net. And Southwest.
Southwest is much more focused, primarily leisure travelers, families, people often looking for good value and simplicity.
Like the free bags again.
Exactly. Their pricing is simpler, benefits are more inclusive. By focusing like that, they can tailor their message and service really effectively to that specific group.
So knowing who you're talking to lets you serve them better. Seems obvious, but hard to execute.
It is, and that leads to the challenges the research points out. It's not all smooth sailing.
What kind of challenges?
For Delta, a big one is just managing the sheer complexity and volume of data they get from all over the world. Different markets, different traveler types.
Global operations mean global data headaches.
You got it. It can lead to potential gaps, maybe not fully understanding certain segments or regions as well as they'd like. It's just a lot to handle effectively.
Okay, data overload challenge. What about Southwest? Their model seems simpler.
Their main challenge, according to the research, is more about execution at scale, maintaining consistent service quality when you have such high passenger volumes.
Keeping everyone happy when the planes are packed.
Basically, ensuring every interaction, every flight meets their standard day in, day out. That's tough with so many customers. It's about scaling that quality.
Right. And other challenges they both face.
Yeah, both have to keep adapting to changing expectations. Think about sustainability demands or calls for more inclusivity. Those are constantly evolving.
Always something new to navigate. So, looking ahead, how do they try to keep customers engaged for the long haul, beyond just the next flight?
It seems to come down to continuous improvement and communication. Delta is really pushing tech-driven enhancements.
Like what?
Using predictive analytics, maybe, to anticipate problems. Imagine getting a message about a potential delay before it's even announced, with options already presented.
Okay, that would be impressive. Proactive service.
Exactly. Southwest, on the other hand, really leverages its company culture, that friendly, approachable vibe.
Yeah, their flight attendants often have a bit more personality.
Right. They use social media a lot for engagement, and they try to be really transparent in their communication. But for both, building and keeping trust is paramount.
How so?
By addressing concerns quickly, being seen as reliable, if you feel heard and like they consistently deliver, you're more likely to stick with them. It's foundational.
Trust and consistency. Got it. Now, there was a fast fact mentioned in the research that caught my eye.
Ah, yeah, that was interesting. It cited a 2023 industry report. Apparently, airlines that are actively using these kinds of customer behavior insights,
Like Delta and Southwest.
exactly, they see, on average, a 20% increase in customer retention rates.
Wow, 20%. That really shows the bottom line value of all this research and tech, doesn't it?
It absolutely does. It quantifies the benefit of truly understanding your customers.
Okay, so let's quickly recap this deep dive. We've seen Delta and Southwest use sophisticated research, especially loyalty programs. They deploy serious tech like AI and big data.
And they actually listen to feedback to shape operations, whether it's Delta's comfort focus or Southwest's policy refinements.
Right. Different loyalty strategies, premium perks versus transparency, and different target segments.
And they both face challenges, like data complexity for Delta, service consistency for Southwest, and adapting to new expectations for both.
And that 20% retention stat really hammers home why this matters to them.
Exactly. So for anyone listening, whether you're just booking a flight or you're interested in business strategy, understanding how these airlines operate gives you a real insight into data-driven decision making.
Yeah, it's a powerful lens on how major companies work. It definitely gives you something to think about beyond just air travel.
Hmm.
So here's a final thought to chew on. Given how much effort Delta and Southwest put into understanding your data and preferences, what information are other companies and organizations in your life collecting? And how might that be shaping your experiences, maybe in ways you don't even realize?
That's a great question. Something to definitely ponder.
Indeed. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.